I have always loved the movies of Federico Fellini. They possess a remarkable contrast. They often begin like exuberant carnivals, absurd, playful worlds where everyone is laughing, dancing, inventing strange little rituals, and rushing about with great enthusiasm. Yet by the final scene, the celebration inevitably falls silent. The masks slip away, the music fades, and a single human being remains alone before the endless sea, the cold wind, and the heavy stone they continue to carry, step after step, despite everything. Authentic tradition, whether it speaks through the language of the northern runes, Eastern mysticism, or Western hermeticism, has never been a comfortable afternoon stroll. It has never been about quick wealth, easy answers, or escaping reality. It is a deliberate, measured, and profoundly mature decision. People arrive here only after walking many other roads, experimenting with easier methods, becoming disappointed by them, and finally recognizing a simple truth. There are no effortless answers. Every genuine tradition ultimately serves the same meal: black bread and bitter salt. That is what we shall place upon our table today, without illusions, without competing schools, without pretending that one path alone possesses the truth. Meanwhile, today's self-help industry often markets magic as though it was some kind of cosmic online marketplace. Think about a Porsche. Visualize a Porsche. Burn a piece of paper with the word Porsche written on it, and the universe will deliver it to your front door. Unfortunately, that would violate one of the oldest laws in existence, the conservation of energy. Structural mechanics teaches us that nothing appears from nowhere. You cannot achieve 300% efficiency simply by sitting in the lotus position. The great traditions have always taught something far less glamorous and infinitely more demanding. Tradition is a catalyst. It provides direction. It amplifies meaningful action. But it never replaces action itself. If you spend every day meditating on wealth without ever building something of genuine value, you are not creating prosperity. You are simply using the extraordinary computing power of your own mind to render increasingly beautiful imaginary pictures. In today's self-help marketplace, however, magical traditions are often little more than marketing categories carefully designed to appeal to different customer segments. White magic, $40, designed for anxious souls searching for positive energy. You will be invited to breathe deeply, visualize a soft pink ray of universal love, light a scented candle, cleanse your chakras, and leave feeling wonderfully reassured. Safe, gentle, lavender-scented. Black magic, $50. A product aimed at disappointed ex-partners and people carrying unresolved anger. Here you may allegedly punish your enemies, cast irresistible love spells from a photograph, or dominate another person's will. In reality, it is often marketed to those who would benefit far more from an honest conversation with a therapist, or perhaps a competent lawyer. Grey magic, the premium edition, for customers who consider themselves too sophisticated for either of the previous options. I exist beyond good and evil. I embrace perfect balance. In practice, remarkably similar software, simply packaged differently. Courses like these remain popular because they remove the single burden most people would rather avoid: personal responsibility. If your business is struggling, the difficult solution involves improving your strategy, reducing unnecessary costs, learning your market, and becoming genuinely better at what you do. The alternative is considerably easier. Your company isn't failing because of poor management. Someone placed a curse on you. Your karma is blocked. Draw this mysterious symbol on your wallet. Most people find it far more comforting to blame a blocked chakra than an ineffective business model. To someone encountering it for the first time, Sitra Achra may appear to be a sinister cult. History, however, has a habit of repeating itself. Isaac Luria's revolutionary vision of the shattering of the vessels was once viewed as dangerous. Copernicus challenged accepted cosmology and paid a heavy price for doing so. Every serious shift in human understanding has initially appeared unsettling. Perhaps we should do something rather unfashionable. Instead of inventing legends, titles, and mystical hierarchies, we might simply read the original sources. At its heart, Sitra Achra is an extraordinarily profound psychological exploration of human archetypes. If you wish to humanize those archetypes, there is nothing wrong with doing so. Perhaps then people will finally stop treating the shadow side of the mind as nothing more than absolute evil. When someone purchases yet another course promising effortless success, they imagine themselves pressing a single button labeled "more money." What usually follows is something entirely different. As ambition grows, the shadow software, the Qliphoth, awakens as well. A person unprepared for that inner confrontation often discovers not prosperity, but anxiety, panic attacks, imposter syndrome, and a painful psychological crisis. Curiously, those chapters are rarely included in the promotional brochure. Apparently, integrate your shadow through disciplined inner work does not sell quite as well as visualize a unicorn. Take Lilith, for example. She is not simply a goddess to be worshipped. After her exile, she came to represent something far more psychologically significant. She illuminates or awakens those hidden regions of the human mind we spend our lives trying not to notice. The illusion that we are complete, perfect, and internally consistent has remained remarkably unchanged from antiquity until the present day. We still hesitate to look directly into our own depths. To many people, this may sound unsettling, yet ordinary life quietly demonstrates the same principle every day. The very parents who comfort us, protect us, and teach us to love are also capable of discipline, severity, and painful lessons that shape our character. The shadow archetypes of the psyche function in much the same way. And Nahma? There one finds almost nothing except sorrow and compassion for a profoundly tragic figure. Few characters in the history of mythology have been treated so harshly. Her greatest crime was love. It is no coincidence that for centuries she has been remembered simply as the Weeping One. Yes, many ancient deities were eventually forced into the category of demons after the rise of monotheism. But this is, above all, an archetypal reclassification, a different way of organizing the human psyche. Each of us faces the same decision. Either we summon the courage to confront the hidden weaknesses within ourselves, or we continue living exactly as before. The gods remain the gods, and the greater the stream of human attention, memory, and belief directed toward them, the more vividly they continue to exist within culture and within us. This is not especially difficult to experience for yourself. Walk into a quiet temple that has carried 200 years of prayer. Then visit a newly constructed church that still smells faintly of fresh concrete. The difference in atmosphere, the difference in accumulated human presence is immediately perceptible. Do not imagine that you can draw a circle on the floor, assemble a makeshift altar, read an Enochian invocation from a printed sheet, and suddenly be greeted by a winged guardian of the abyss politely asking, "You called? Would you happen to like $1 million?" To which you confidently reply, "Certainly, and in exchange I brought you a glass of vodka." Unfortunately, your celestial visitor turns out to be a committed teetotaler, rather awkward. If the ancient gods truly consumed everything modern occultists attempt to offer them, they would probably have succumbed to liver failure centuries ago. Perhaps that explains why so many evocations, and even more invocations, produce remarkably little. And heaven help you if the deity happens to appreciate genuine Cuban cigars. Finding one at 2 o'clock in the morning can become a ritual all by itself. Real practice has very little in common with comfort. It is either a harmless psychological placebo or a moment of absolute mental precision. A single instant during which you must hold together, simultaneously, the structure of the surrounding world, the laws governing its interactions, and the subtle ways in which your own ego is influencing the entire system. When you spend months, sometimes years, searching for an answer, carefully refining your perception, only to watch each experiment collapse into silence. Beautiful speeches disappear, grand incantations become meaningless. At that moment, every sincere student of every authentic tradition begins to resemble Sisyphus, a solitary figure pushing a heavy, cold stone up an impossibly steep mountain. No enthusiasm remains, no comforting illusions, only an exhausted mouth, opened in a silent cry, and the overwhelming temptation to abandon everything. The books, the symbols, the years of work, and simply walk away. The stone crashes back into the valley, shattering years of effort. Sisyphus wipes the sweat from his face, walks quietly back down, places both hands upon the stone once again, and begins pushing. Not because someone promised him success, not because the summit guarantees happiness, but because the stone, the mountain, and the struggle itself have become his conscious, honest, and freely chosen path. And that law belongs equally to everyone who sincerely seeks the truth. It is here that I choose to bring beginnings to its conclusion. If you decide to devote yourself to any path, whether magic, painting, music, or any other discipline, do so consciously. And never expect tomorrow to reward what only years can truly shape. My name is Desero. Thank you for walking this road beside me. I will return with another journey. Perhaps we shall laugh. Perhaps we shall grieve. But above all, we shall continue to live and to carry our own stone.